This video is about what I think is the future of camera operators. I follow Cranky Cameraman, and what's funny is he's probably the most polite YouTuber out there, so I don't know where the cranky comes from. And of course I watch David Moorfield, who's 36, a younger camera operator, Wandering DP, various others, Cole Power at Alt Cine, even though he's not really a camera operator per se. This is where I sort of see things heading in the next 5 years. When sound first came out, the sound guy at his console, like he was the big guy, right? Like everybody like tiptoed around him. And then you had the Technicolor guy in color film. And now you had the camera guy, the Alexa, whatever. And I think in the future it's going to be the GPU cart guy. So we're not going to have a camera cart. This is important anymore. This can be the GPU cart. And you're not going to need fancy cameras. In fact, cameras haven't really evolved that much recently, if you ask me. You'll just have like a 1-inch camera like I'm using right now, the Canon XA70, or that Sony version that David just bought himself. And so how will the workflow work? Well, you'll go to your corporate shoot, your news event or whatever, and you'll have your GPU cart, and you'll shoot with the video, and it'll go into the GPU cart, or maybe it'll go into fiber to a server farm somewhere, and immediately it'll extract the background, whatever it is. They'll do 3D modeling to try and put you in a 3D space or your subject in 3D space. It will model the voice. It will model the visuals so that if the client says, she said passive income and we want active income, it'll generate her voice and her video and it'll splice it into the video perfectly as if she said it in real life. The technology already exists today, but it's slow, it's cumbersome, that's how it is. But it is coming. Not only that, but all these GPUs or off-site will create versions in different languages, speaking different languages, their lips moving in different, to move with the language. Different backgrounds, whatever background that the person wants. Maybe they'll shoot in, different lighting or whatever. I mean, just so many things that will be done with the computer. And if you say, oh no, AI, people don't like AI and this stuff, people never like anything when it's new. But think about it, like half of all news stories, right, or green screen, or like half of YouTube, everything is green screen, right? The background is replaced. Nobody complains and say, hey, he's not really sitting in front of the Capitol building, right? Like nobody really complains about that. And really, it is the business of telling a story convincingly through, video and audio. So there are some other interesting things I think about David's situation and many people who are in their mid-40s. And this is some bad news, and I'm sorry to say it. It's too long to write in the comments, so that's why I'm going to say it in this video. So this is what I think, potentially have to look forward to. So you're in middle 40s. Well, and this is what happened to me. I'm 64. So I've always had perfect eyesight from young until my 40s, 2 inches far away, everything totally in focus, never any problems. And then in my 50s, it's like almost like it happens in so you just wake up one day, right? And you can't see as well as you can. So you need glasses for reading and glasses for the computer and glasses to see far away. Well, you can get progressives, but that's a pain. So the basic thing is that if you're working with a camera, you're constantly changing, looking near, looking far and all this stuff. And now you need different glasses for that or different parts of the lens or whatever. It's a super pain in the butt. It's very uncomfortable. It's just very so I mean, right away, it's very difficult, I think, to work with the equipment. So that's the eyes. But then the second aspect of the eyes, which I wasn't told about, I guess I'm glad they did, I don't want to know what's happening, is that they become less sensitive to light. So when you drive at night, you can see less and less and less. So now I don't drive at night unless I absolutely have to. So you think, okay, you're going to get some gig, you can go shoot something, right? And it's in the winter, right? And you leave at 4 o'clock and it's dark. You think that's going to be a fun drive from 4 to 6 in your 60s or in late 50s? No, it could actually be terrifying. So you have that to look forward to. Then there are the ears. So, I noticed that now if I'm with a group of people, let's just say at a conference or something, and we're talking in a lobby or whatever, or meeting space, and somebody's talking to me, I can't hear what they're saying. I can't understand what they're saying. It is extraordinarily hard. And it's always been hard, but now it's like almost impossible. Certain restaurants, certain acoustics, I can't hear what people are saying. So here you can work as a cameraman. You're going to talk to people. If you have to talk to people in a busy room, and it's going to be hard to hear them. So you have that. So David already has his back problems, which he's had for a while, and upcoming eyesight problems, hearing problems, and then just a brain problem. It just doesn't multitask. If it could ever multitask as well as it can, just too much information comes in and just shuts down. And I don't know what it is. Maybe that's just me, but I find that, yeah, I mean, I can't just like, I don't know how to explain it, but like go all over the place. I have to do everything very methodically. It's a plus and it's a minus, but it's a minus in a sense with this technology and the cameras. There's so many things to deal with. The final thing, which I find interesting, is that so David has a few rental properties that he rents out, and he's said in recent videos that that the more he works, the less he'll make money, like the more taxes. So he's going to work just to pay the health care, and he's going to make his income off the properties. And I don't like to give advice only because it's usually wrong and stupid. So just bear that caveat in mind. But I'm just going to argue strongly, even though, again, do not take my advice. What are you doing? First of all, I don't know why anybody would want to live in Texas unless they absolutely had to. If you're working in oil, you're working in cattle, you're working in manufacturing, I get it why you have to live in Texas. But anybody else, I don't get it. Okay. Anyway, that's just my personal thing. But really what I'm saying is that don't get suckered in my opinion, because these people, what they're trying to do, these people, there's certain people in Texas, certain wealthy people, they're going after the poor. And you might be a casualty here. You have a few properties, and if the recession, depression goes down, you're going to lose rents, and then taxes might go up, insurance is going to go up, expenses are going to go up. Then when you want to sell them because you need to buy this GPU card I'm talking about, you won't be able to because you actually have to pay money to keep them. So instead of your idea of like, oh, I'm making money from my properties and I'm just working enough to do my healthcare, it's going to flip around. It could, right? Flip around where now you're working not only to put food on your table and your healthcare, you're also paying to keep the stupid properties going. So it's just a big risk. I feel that creators, camera people, I mean, you're gunslingers. You go town to town. If an opportunity happens, far away, you go for 3 months, and that's what you need to do. You can't be doing two things at once. Like this whole and why would you want to collect rents from people? It's just against the mindset to me of a creator, camera person. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Anyway, but again, I think, okay, so you have that. You have the where you can have to do more of your work with your head, right? Not with your eyes and your ears and your back, because all that unfortunate stuff I'm talking about. You have to do more stuff with your head. The industry is changing. So I think in some ways this is the best time to get into video production, because the whole camera thing, that's just going away. Like, who cares anymore about what camera? 8K, 16K, 50K, whatever. It's just like, it's overkill. The video I'm shooting right now, so the camera is recording at about 35 to 45 megabits per second, right? In 1080p. I don't even do 4K half the time anymore. Anyway, so it's shooting that. That's basically 187K, something like that, kilobytes per frame, right? 30 frames per second. When it gets on YouTube and it goes through the freaking algorithms, their compression, it's going to be 5K. It's going to be like 1/22nd of normal compression in the camera. So, and then if you're shooting RAW, that's at 10 megabytes per second, right? That's 1,200 times smaller. So all this stuff about YouTubers talking about cameras and doing A and B tests and this and that, I'm like, while you're doing that, all these engineers at Netflix and Google and Disney or whatever, they're working hard as they can to compress the life out of it to get the barest minimum product. You want to give something nice, and of course, nice camera always helps, but generally that's the way the world is going. Okay, they're not going into higher quality. I wish they would. I wish they'd stop just doing it, because if I watch something on Netflix, like it's a dark scene, like you can't see anything. Like, why don't these filmmakers get the hint? Like, they're not gonna be able to see it. I know I would like for you to show me how you want to film this in this like Twilight scene. But I'm sorry, but the AV1 codec, the VP9 codec, whatever, it's gonna turn it into like basically 5 like brown blocks and a like sort of a person moving around. So yeah, the cameras are over. They're just completely over. And in fact, I think in general, and people have talked about this, I've talked about in like a video last year that you're going to have stuff where it's going to be instructions that are going to be sent to your TV, and it's going to put the image together. Not even the image, it's almost going to be like how music used to be. Like Beethoven would put like, A flat 4 times here, right? And it's going to be the same thing. Say, put a blue background back there, and then your TV will do it. But I don't want to digress. So in the future, like I said, you can have a GPU card. You're going to have to learn the technology. Filmmakers who basically think, okay, it's what the client wants. They want to look better to other people. They want to basically tick a whole bunch of boxes, different languages, maybe change things for different audiences. Maybe in one audience, the person will say a script this way and that way, but they'll just shoot one script and then they'll just redo the video through AI for the other 4 ways of putting it. And it goes up to the 4 audiences. The 4 different distributions. That's the way things are going. I think things will go. That's what you have to learn. Now is the time to learn it, not to be freaking fooling around some water heater like 5 miles away or whatever. And so it's going to take time and it's going to take capital. So it's very curious to me like what David's going to do, because I think if he does nothing, if he just stays, he'll just limp along, not limp along, but he'll get along, doing his camera work. It's not like his expertise is ever going to go away, and he'll puddle around the houses, but I feel it's going to be like you're retiring, like he's retiring. And David Warfield talking about, I'm going to buy a house. I'm like, he's 36. I'm like, no, David, get your, no, it's not. I get it. You just got married, and if you're going to have a kid, but even for you, like really, you need to get on this new technology. You have to learn these new systems, because that's where the world is going. That's where the needs are. You can do stuff with AI now that's just incredible, just absolutely incredible. And the reason I think you don't see it, and a lot of filmmakers don't see it, is because it's really sort of the domain of programmers at the moment. So, you have to put in a lot of parameters. You have to understand this and that. You have to get an account where you can get a bunch of GPUs. If you just try and run your own little NVIDIA card, I have a very decent NVIDIA card. Take 10 minutes to do, half a minute. So you really need like banks of these things. You need complete racks. And so anyway, because you're not programming, you don't really use it as much. I'm using a lot because I'm a programmer, so I understand how that stuff works. But I've also have an interest in this stuff. And I'm telling you, once they get the AIs, not the AIs, but the interfaces onto these, once they get the connectivity onto these things, it's going to slowly come in and be very important. It's like I just watched a video, I forget his name, but he was criticizing Gerald Undone, because Gerald Undone was like, you don't really need OpenGate, Sony. And this guy was like, yeah, okay, you do YouTube videos. You don't actually make videos like I do. Like the guy makes YouTube videos also, of course, but he also does, I think, more professional work. It's like, hey, if the client they need portrait, and it has a whole different sort of things, and they need 19 by 6, and if you just zoom in, you lose a whole bunch of resolution. It's also hard to think that way and not have your things. OpenGate really helps you do those both things properly. So it's an important thing to have, and it's that sort of thing where that's the two sides of, I think, camera operators as I see the industry. And again, I don't do it. I just do a teeny bit here and there. As I see it, those who get it, like this guy's like, hey, listen, the client needs all these types of products essentially to go out there, and so I need a camera that makes it easy for me to do these things. And it's going to be the same thing with having a GPU card and be able to say, the client's going to say, okay, I'm going to give you the client. I'm going to give it totally transparent. I'm going to give it to you with the background that you have. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the voice models and the video models, and I'm going to make it easy that either I or you can take this and repurpose it any way that you want. Any background that you want, any audio redone, any visuals redone, I'm going to do it for you. And I'm going to think that way, so I'm going to get coverage. When I go to set, I'm going to get coverage and have the person just talk like, main stuff. Maybe just do some walking, like all stuff that builds a model so you could regenerate it later. Now, of course, I believe, for a few years you'll have AI next to all this stuff, but it's going to go away. We're just all going to accept that anything you see on the screen is just a creation. It's just fantasy. But, you know, that's been the way it is all the time. Like all movies and TV we watch, we all know that it's constructed. We all know it's artificial. We all know that in interviews they're lighting or they might cut a piece of sound here to make it sound this way. We all know it's manipulative as freaking heck, right? So anyway, I just want to look at my box, my notes, and see if I've missed anything. Yeah, I talked about all the depressing stuff about hearing and noise and whatever. You talk about the client doesn't care about the camera. The camera that you talk about the cameras. This is our stuff, right? This is us just like we're into it, but we have to always keep in mind the client. And then I think when they go into the politics in this one, I've done this take a few times, but yeah, I think it's we're heading into a depression. It's going to be a horrible time. But those who learn this technology now, I feel, will have another 20 years of their career that they can be set for. So, like if David is in 45 and he does it now, 55, 65, he can go another 20 years and be totally situated to do, you know, really whatever he wants. But I think he needs to basically jettison whatever isn't useful right now and be free to do this. Same thing with David Moorfield. I think same thing if you're a camera operator. Again, this is bad advice. I'm always wrong. But, you know, trim your sails. Get rid of all the useless baggage. Stop thinking about your freaking camera. It's all about how this stuff, you can take source materials, put it through computer-generated stuff, and give the content that's going to sell the story your client wants sold. Thanks for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.